So our first speaker for the second session is Mr. Geshem Mutero. Mr. Geshem Mutero is a dedicated final year Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting student with a strong passion for numbers, problem solving, and financial analysis. Geshem is committed to building a successful career in accounting, aspiring to become a chartered accountant. He plans to enroll in the prestigious CTA certificate in the theory of accounting program after completing undergraduate studies. Beyond academics, Geshem is quite enthusiastic, pays special attention to detail, and is an overall team player. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Geshem Mutero. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am host. Thank you for having me. So I'm going to jump right into it. I hope everybody can hear me. As you heard, my name is Geshem Mutero. I'm a BCom Accounting student at the University of Johannesburg. I am in my final year, and so, yeah, things are getting a bit hectic. Be that as it may. So what inspired me to pursue this career? Honestly, I think it was the love for numbers. I think you heard in the introduction, my introduction. I mean, let me just start by saying that sounded really nice sounding, coming from someone else, even though I wrote it. But so I think I've always enjoyed numbers as compared to words. Numbers make most sense and they're easier to deal with in my own experience. Less is more, you know what I mean? So words, it was always like, it was too much, you know, the arts, the literature, the history, the geographies, they had a lot of words and I could never really cope because I'm not keen on studying for longer hours. But with numbers, it was always objective, you know, 1 + 1 is always 2, even though that sounds, you know, way too simple. But in the grand scheme of things, that was the reason why I chose this particular career, to deal with numbers. I always enjoyed them. They were always easier to deal with. So that was how it started. But obviously it gets more complicated than that. But we're going to get into the journey. So my educational journey, my primary school, I learned at a school called BCom, which wouldn't matter, in Harare. I was born and raised in Harare. High school, I went to a high school called St. Faith in Rusape, Zimbabwe. Rusape, Zimbabwe. If anyone knows the school, then you'd know this school is where they make trailblazers academic-wise. So I did my O-levels there as well, and I wrote too many subjects, more than I should have, now that I know better. But I did pass all of them. Then I moved on to my A-level, advanced level. Then I changed schools. I learned at a school called Mugure House first, which was a Cambridge school. Moved to another Cambridge school named Wise Owl at the end of my lower 6, which is A-level, which would be a South African equivalent of grade 10 to grade 11, so to speak. So I wrote my A-levels there. I was doing business studies, accounting, and economics. Those are my A-level subjects, because I was writing Cambridge, that's how it works. So I did pass all of them as well, and I applied late to university, unfortunately. I did think that South African universities worked on the same schedule as the Zimbabwean ones, where you can apply for an August or September intake, but that wasn't the case. So because I couldn't get into an August or September intake, I had to wait an entire year, taking a gap year, which gave me perspective. But at the same time, I already knew what I wanted to do. As I already shared, I had a passion for numbers. So I applied, and then I got into uni, the University of Johannesburg, starting 2022. That's when I was first year, and here we are. So a typical day at school, well, it can't be at my job, but at school, a typical day, I mean, when I'm at school, there's not much to say, unfortunately. You just go and attend my lectures. But I think the university experience in South Africa, where I learned at my uni, is pretty dynamic. You know, there's all learning styles are incorporated in our learning, be it the visual part, the audio part, because they really stress about how people learn differently. So they do incorporate every single learning style to make sure that everyone at the end of the day does understand. Typically, I'm going to attend my lectures if I have certain things that I do not understand, or that I just feel like I need a nudge or to revise. I can also go to tutors that are readily available and catch up with my work. And later on, I usually go to the library as well with some mates. Of course, I skip the fun, the lunches, and the chilling. But yeah, I just want to keep it business, right? So yeah, the skills and qualities that are essential for success in this field, in accounting, absolutely numbers, mathematics. So I don't know if I skipped this part. I think I did. The one thing that I wish somebody had told me right before was doing mathematics A level. I did not do mathematics A level. I did mathematics O level when I passed it. Then I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to have this again. But it would have been absolutely easier on me had I done math A level. So when I got to uni and I was doing there are certain mathematical modules in first year, I was unfortunately a bit behind because everyone else or most people in our class had done the equivalent of math A level. And so that was hard. So absolute essential is be good with math. Try your best. And math is not, I want to say it's not as hard as it seems because I mean, I ended up passing. I didn't fail it, even though I didn't done it A level. I did pass these modules. But as soon as you take the math seriously, the math on its own, when you get to the accounting part of things are easier because you're going to be incorporating things like economics in there, things like a bit of insurance and whatever. All these things, they're going to make more sense if your math is already, at least at par. So I think that is one thing that you should have, and just paying special attention to detail. We're going to dive into the accounting bits, like all the careers that you can venture into, and you're going to understand why you're going to need all of the detail, quite frankly, especially with the auditing, and that every single word means something, every single word or number written in the statements and whatever, it's deliberately written in such a manner. So you have to, nothing is put there for fun, so to speak. You know what I mean? So everything means something. So yeah, on that cue, I'm gonna jump into the careers that you can venture into with my degree. So starting with the simple stuff, you can venture into finance, be a financial advisor. Financial advisor, I think that's self-explanatory. You're just advising firms or people on how they can invest, use, or save their money, right? Pretty straightforward. You can venture into banking. There's things I'm trying not to over-explain, given time is our best resource today, our most important one. Banking is pretty simple. You're working in the banks. The roles will be determined when you get in there. It's a bit too vast, is what I'm trying to say. You can be a tax consultant. That's your typical tax man. You can either be a tax man for a firm or you can be a tax man for individuals, right? Tax man is not an official term, by the way. It's just a term that makes it easier to understand um, for a normal person that is not in the field. But yeah, so to get into these roles, either you're going to get the entry level jobs that you can get into after getting the degree, like myself. Let's say if I graduate now, you can get the entry level jobs that can lead you to later become an auditor or a taxman, like I said, or a financial advisor or a banker. Or there's um, postgraduate programs that you can take, right? So I want to be a chartered accountant, as said again in that introduction, which means after I finish this final year, pass it, graduate, I'm going to do something called BCTA. So BCTA is a bridging course that gets you to CTA, right? So CTA, as already mentioned, that's the certificate in the theory of accounting. That's what's gonna make me become a chartered accountant later on after my training, right? So that would be my route if you want to be a chartered accountant. That's BCTA first, and then you do your CTA where you're gonna write your ITCs and your APCs. Yeah, exactly. And then you're gonna do your 3 years training at accredited firms to become a chartered accountant. After you become a chartered accountant, you can also still choose either you want to venture in tax or you want to venture in auditing. Tax is tax, like I said, you're gonna be finding out how taxes, if taxes are paid the right way, how they can be paid in better way, more efficient ways for firms, how they can save, how they can invest and get deductions, etc., from paying their taxes, which would be advantageous to them or even individuals, certain people. You can also venture into accounting, into auditing. Auditing is just making sure everything is done legally. That's the crux of it. Nothing more complicated than that. You're looking at the legality of it. So it's way more theoretical than taxation. Taxation is too many numbers. Auditing is more about the law and the legal part of accounting, right? Making sure they are abiding by the law, making sure the taxes are paid and they are paid the right amounts, the right way, on time, etc. Just to mention a few things. So that's what you can do with chartered accounting. But when you do it as a chartered accountant, you're doing it on a grander scale, on a much grand scale. and so you're probably making more cash, which is, what I'm going for. But you're way more advanced. You have the prestige, you have the actualization, just you've gone through the fire, literally, because it's really hard to get there. So I think it's also motivating just for you to make such an achievement when not everybody can achieve it, right? But you can also become a tax man, as I said, from entry level, just getting into the field, or you can also become an auditor in the same manner, or taking postgraduate programs that are not CTA. You can do your master's integration or master's in auditing. Not sure on the technical terms of those postgraduate degrees. Yeah, sorry, postgraduate programs. So the challenges and realities of this field. So this field, the challenge is just it being hard, as is any field, right? So I don't want to tell you that no, it's harder than all others. No, not really. It is not harder. It is you can handle it, right? I've handled it so far. I hope I keep handling it. But it is hard if you don't take it seriously enough, right? So I'm gonna slip this in and say, I'm a uni student, and I think when you get to uni, some people you're gonna speak to that are in uni are gonna tell you, no, uni is not everything they told us. It's not partying, it's whatever. It definitely is. Uni is definitely everything that they told me it was going to be, because the partying is there, the getting you distracted is there, everything is there at your disposal. The question is, what do you take more seriously, right? I could be at a party right now. I could be at a party last night. I could be at a party tomorrow. There's always going to be someone to turn up and party, but it's all a matter of the challenge is the balancing. Just what do you take seriously enough? So the reason why I feel like uni is hard is not just because of the book side of it, the academics. I think it's the freedom part of it, where now nobody cares what time you get home or what you're doing, where you are. So are you going to have the self-motivation to push yourself to be studying instead of to be, doing some other stuff, clubbing and that? So yeah, I think that's what makes it. That's the challenge, just balancing your life and getting used to it. Uni is exciting when you get there. It's something new. You're moving away from your parents or guardians. Finally, you can be out all night or whatever. So I think that's the number one challenge of being a student. And the reality of this degree that is nothing to do with the personal life is just, it's a lot of us. That's the reality. It's a lot of us. I'm in a class, my text class, everyone, including the ones that I've come with and the ones that have failed and have to repeat. I think we are around 1,000, so to speak, just to make the number a zero number. We're about 1,000. So imagine that's 1,000 people doing a text module. That means if we do all pass, it's going to be 1,000 of us graduating next year. So the reality is, it's not a niche as it is the degree itself. It's not a niche. It's a lot of us. There's nothing special about me or anyone that I'm learning with. You're going to have to dig deeper. You're going to have to do more for it to mean something, for it to give you something. The truth is, if you do graduate, right, most probably, more times than not, you're going to get a job somewhat. You're going to get it. Small as it is, you're going to earn less or whatever, you're going to get it. Now your ambition comes to play. What's the life you envision? What do you want to achieve as a person? I think that's going to be the differentiator between me and my co-host, right? So the reality is, it's too many of us. There's nothing special about it. If you get into it, never think that there's going to be, you're going to be a niche or something like that. No, you're not. You're just going to be one of the many, one of 1,000, like I said. And that's 1,000 in my class. There's 1,000 in the previous class behind me and the other class in first year. So yeah, it's really many of us. And the career growth opportunities are vast. I can't lie. The opportunities to grow are vast. Like I said, I mean, once you become a chartered accountant, you don't even need to stop there. You can already earn quite a bit. Sure, there's much demand for a chartered accountant here in South Africa. When you're an accountant, it is not, what do you call those jobs that they give you the permanent rest for? I'm forgetting the term for it. But when you're just an accountant, you're not on that list, right? But once you become a chartered accountant, you are on that list. So you can get a permanent raise, etc., etc. So all those things are fine, but you can still advance it. You can still do a master's in this. You can still do your MBA or EMBA if you're already an executive. You can still do doctorate, sorry, after you do your master's. So advancing is, you're never stagnant. You're never gonna stop if you want to keep going. And as you advance your learning, best believe that you also advance yourself as far as the career. the more you learn and the more you grow, the more opportunities you open up for yourself. So growth is absolutely, the opportunity to grow is absolutely there. And advice for students that want to get into it, math, like I said, please take it seriously. If you can do math A level, do it. If you didn't do math A level, just be ready for it, right? If you didn't do math A level, but you passed the O level, just be ready for it as you're going to get into uni. Be ready for it. It's going to be a bit harder than what you remember from O level. It's not going to be the hardest thing. If you pass your O level math and if you pass your A level, whatever subjects you were doing, I can't see you failing it, but you have to take it as seriously as you should, because trust, it's not a joke, right? So take that seriously and just be able to balance your life. Never take the one more seriously than the other. Honestly, I believe in living life entirely. I know this is not the greatest advice and I'm a bit young. The older ones will give you better advice, so they speak, so they say, right? But I can tell you this, once you do get to uni, if you do, and you're doing this degree or any other degree, balance the life. Do go out, do party, do whatever. At the same time, keep the main thing the main thing. If you allocate your Friday to yourself, do that. But always have a life. Always just, that keeps you healthy. I'm not gonna lie, like mentally as well, because it gets depressing out here. You know what I mean? So that was a bit of an exaggeration. That's why I almost laughed. But yeah, you get bored. So yeah. And then one advice that has helped me in my career: keep the main thing the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. Life is happening all over. I've got family, I've got friends, I've got whatever, and it's easy to get distracted or whatever. But as long as I keep the main thing, like I have so far, and I hope I keep doing, and I advise you to do, you will not lose, you will not fail either. And even if you fail, as long as the main thing is the main thing, you can bounce back. So that is the best advice I could give anyone, really. And some things that you can do that are going to make life easier for you in the accounting field is take the AI part of life seriously. So AI is taking over things like cloud accounting and cloud computing, things like artificial intelligence and automation. If you can integrate them into your accounting degree, you are going to make your degree a tit more special than everybody else. Unfortunately, they are integrating certain programs already in our degrees, so you'd have to do something a bit extra. You know what I mean? Do the Excel stuff, take Excel seriously. I know that it's a bit boring in there, but as soon as you're literate as far as Excel is concerned, you're a bit of a cut above the rest, because people just do it to pass it. If you do it to understand it, and on a random day I can wake you up and you can operate it swiftly, that's going to work in your favor. So yeah, I think I've said a lot, and I hope it did help one or two people. But that's all I had to say for today. Thank you for joining and thank you for having me. Over to our host, Walu.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful presentation, Geshem. I love the fact that you stretch the importance of taking your high school years seriously and knowing the importance of the subjects that you choose. I think
Right.
most people in high school, they just choose subjects because, oh, this is a stream that everyone is going for. Oh, I feel like this would be easier. But then they rarely actually get to match that with what they really want to do. Hence, it's really important. Even when you're about to choose your stream, you are fully aware of what you want to do, your interests. That's why I love this career fair, because even for like those in grade 8, grade 9, it's an opportunity to think through. To think through your career choice and also which subjects you get to choose, so that you don't get to suffer from the consequences later on. So thank you so much for giving us that
Absolutely.
part and stretching out that part. um we're gonna go into our Q&A session. Are there no questions from the chat? But then I have a question for every guest. So my question to you is, you mentioned about something about like the saturation, like the industry, the CA industry being saturated, like there are a lot of people. What could you do, like during your studying years, that would help you stand out from everybody else? Like, what could you invest in? What type of opportunities should you be on the lookout for? How do you get to prepare to not form part of like the large pool that will just be swallowed by the saturation? How can you make yourself different so that at the end of the day, when you're done with your studies, you get to stand out?
Right. No, first off, I meant the saturated part is mostly the accounting field as a whole. The CA part not too saturated, even though there are a lot of CAs. It's not too bad because the pass rate is also quite low because it's really hard. Be that as it may, the intangibles. There's intangibles that they don't teach you at school. I think that's what sets you apart, right? Learn public speaking, for example. That's something that in any field, most field, as far as business, law, and then I don't know about the medical parts. I don't think you need to speak much. But the intangibles like your public speaking, like your analytical skills, things that you have to learn on your own in your house with by yourself or using other people. These are things that go a long way. You figure nowadays your degree means something properly. It's big, you've worked hard for it, but when you get into an interview, they're gonna want to hear the way you're speaking, the way you're analyzing and dissecting that question, right? That comes from that critical thinking skill, and that comes from the way you speak as well, how audible you are, how confident you are, and how you mold your words to give them meaning. So I think you should work on the intangibles to set yourself apart, so to speak. So that those are not the only intangibles. I'm sure you can find out more, but learn to speak. In business, we are all selling something. Sometimes we're selling ourselves, sometimes we're selling our services, sometimes we're selling our businesses. How do you sell without the ability to speak eloquently, right? Work on that, work on the other stuff, the knowledge, the critical thinking, and keep adding the other courses. Like I said, if you add your AI courses, if you add some other little niche courses that I may not remember on the spot, you will do fine. So I think that's how you better yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for really highlighting the importance of
I appreciate it.
getting like the soft skills, and also the fact that yes, your degree is really important, but then there's more to you. You need to develop yourself, pair it or match it up with your degree, and then you're able to do something to make yourself stand out. So thank you so much, and also thank you for actually just highlighting the balance also between your social life and also your academics in varsity, and how much that is really important also. Thank you so much, Mr. Geshem, and good luck with your future endeavors and your studies. We'll
Thank you
have
for having me.
hopefully in the
Thank you
next
for
like
having me.
2 to 3 years, we'll have like Mr. Geshem as the CA join us on one of our phase. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.